The sound of running water filled the kitchen, steady and familiar. I was halfway through the dishes when I heard my father behind me. His voice had that amused edge I knew too well. "Smile for the camera." "Iris," he said. I turned slightly, catching the reflection of his phone in the window. He was filming again. "Our family Maid at work," he added. "Some things never change." A burst of laughter came from the living room. My brother, Liam, called out, "She's getting faster. Maybe she'll earn a raise." My sister, Vanessa, chimed in, "Only if she stops missing spots." The laughter rolled through the house, a sound that used to make me freeze as a kid. I didn't look up this time. I just scrubbed harder, the sponge squeaking against a plate. "Come on, it's just a joke," Dad said, stepping closer. The phone camera stayed pointed at my hands. "You're too serious all the time." Behind him, my mother, Marianne, leaned on the doorway with a glass of wine. "Stephen, leave her alone," she said with a half smile. "You're going to make her cry." "She's not crying," he replied. "She knows it's all in good fun." I kept my eyes on the sink. The water was turning cloudy, gray with soap and bits of food. The smell of lasagna hung heavy. "Say something, Iris," Vanessa called. "You're going viral tonight." That word viral landed like a bruise. Dad chuckled and tapped his phone screen. Perfect caption. "Our family Maid. Some things never change." The room blurred into noise, their laughter, the clink of wine glasses, the hum of the dishwasher. My father's voice cut through all of it. "You know, Iris, when you finally move out, we're going to have to hire someone to replace you," Liam said. "Yeah, and that'll cost actual money." They laughed again. The camera stayed steady. I turned off the water, dried my hands, and faced them. "You done?" I asked quietly. Dad lowered his phone a little, grinning. "Don't be dramatic." "You think that's funny?" I said. My voice was flat. "It's a family joke," he said. "You've always been the responsible one." Mom swirled her wine. "It's true. Iris, you were born to keep us all together." That word again, responsible. It was what they always used instead of useful. I wiped the counter, each motion slower than before. "You know what's strange," I said. "You only ever laugh when I'm working." The room went quiet for a second, and I could feel their surprise, the way silence unsettled them. Dad set his phone on the counter. "You need to lighten up," he said. "It's harmless." "Harmless," I repeated. "Sure." I rinsed the sponge, set it down, and walked toward the stairs. My brother called after me. "Hey, don't forget the pans." I didn't turn around. "Behind me," Dad said. "She'll get over it. She always does." My mother laughed softly, almost to herself. Upstairs, I closed my door and leaned against it. Their laughter still echoed from below, muffled by the walls. In the quiet, I could still hear my father's voice, replaying like a loop our family Maid at work. I opened my laptop and stared at the blank screen until the cursor blinked in time with my heartbeat. Then I typed one sentence. "Imagine being the maid in your own family, and when you say something, they laugh harder." I hit post. Then I closed the lid. I woke to the vibration of my phone on the nightstand. A flood of notifications lit the screen, hundreds of them. My post from the night before had already spread, copied, shared, passed around like a secret everyone suddenly wanted in on. Downstairs, I heard my father's voice through the vents. "Who told her she could post that?" he said. My mother's answer came sharp and clipped. "Stephen, she's embarrassed us enough. Don't yell." I sat up and read the comments anyway. Most were strangers. "This isn't funny. She looks exhausted." Another said, "That's not a joke. That's abuse." The words blurred together until I saw one notification that froze me. "Liam Calder tagged you in a post." I opened it. My brother had uploaded a screenshot of the video with a laughing emoji and the caption, "Guess she's mad we made her famous." I put the phone face down. Their laughter from last night echoed again in my head. When I was little, the same pattern played out in smaller ways. After dinner, I'd be the one clearing the plates while my siblings argued over the TV remote. If I asked for help, Dad would say, "You're better at this, Iris." Mom would smile and call it my gift for order. One night when I was 12, I forgot to take the trash out. Dad found it in the morning and said I was lazy. If you can't do the small things, you'll never be trusted with the big ones. He said it like a life lesson, like kindness. Back then, I thought doing everything right might earn peace. It never did. Downstairs now, his voice rose again. "It's going everywhere. Marianne. My co-workers have seen it," Mom said. "Then tell her to delete it." I could hear the footsteps coming up the stairs. I didn't move. He opened my door without knocking. "What the hell were you thinking?" he asked. I looked at him. "You filmed it. I didn't start this. It was a joke." He snapped. "People think I'm some kind of monster now." I said, "Maybe they just saw what I did." He stared at me, jaw tight. "Take it down. Right now." "I won't." For a moment, the air between us felt dangerous, heavy. Then he exhaled, muttered something about ungrateful kids, and slammed the door. After he left, I scrolled again. Someone had commented, "Whoever she is, she deserves better than that family." I read it twice, like a reminder that maybe someone out there saw me, not the maid, not the joke, just me. By evening, the video had crossed 500,000 views. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating, buzzing across the desk like something alive. I turned it face down, but the noise kept crawling under my skin. "Downstairs," my mother called out. "Dinner's ready." Her tone was bright forced, like she thought pretending nothing happened would fix everything. I didn't move. A few minutes later, she appeared in my doorway holding a plate. "You need to eat," she said. "Your father's upset, but this will blow over if you delete that post. It wasn't even about you." I said, "Of course it was." She snapped. "You made our family look cruel. He has clients calling him Iris. He made me look like a servant." I said. She lowered the plate onto my desk, eyes tightening. "You've always been dramatic. No one forced you to do anything." I met her gaze. You all laughed. Her mouth opened, then closed. "You should apologize," she said finally. "Your father's under a lot of pressure." When she left, the smell of lasagna stayed behind. I pushed the plate aside and opened my laptop. The forum I'd used last night was still on the screen. Hundreds of replies waited under my post stories from strangers describing the same kind of quiet cruelty. I typed, "Thank you for listening." Then I logged off. The phone buzzed again, texts this time. "Liam, congrats. You're famous. Vanessa." "You think anyone cares about your sob story?" "Dad, grow up." I turned the phone off, tossed it onto the bed, and sat in the dark for a while. Then came the voicemail icon. One missed call from Ruth Leland. I hadn't heard from my grandmother in nearly a year. She and Mom had fought years ago, and we'd just stopped visiting her altogether. Her voice, when I played the message, was calm and steady. "Iris, sweetheart, I saw the video. I saw everything. If you need to get out, come stay with me. No pressure. I'm here." The words hit like a door opening. I sat there until the message ended, the quiet folding in around me. Outside, the rain had started again, soft against the window. For the first time in years, the sound didn't feel lonely. It sounded like a way out. The next morning, I played the voicemail again just to hear her voice. It sounded exactly the same, warm, steady, untouched by the years we'd lost. When it ended, I dialed her number before I could talk myself out of it. She answered on the second ring. "Iris, hi. I said quietly. "Oh, honey." Her voice softened. "I was hoping you'd call back." For a moment, neither of us spoke. I could hear her kettle whistling faintly in the background, the ordinary sound of a life without tension. "I saw the video," she said. "I wish I hadn't, but I did." "You don't deserve that." I swallowed hard. They're saying it's a joke. Then they've forgotten what kindness sounds like. Her words caught me off guard. I'd spent years thinking no one noticed, that maybe I was the one who exaggerated. "Do you still live near the coast?" I asked. "In Astoria," she said. "The little blue house by the water. Still standing, still quiet. You can come any time. Iris." No explanations needed. My throat tightened. "I don't know if I can just leave." "You already did," she said gently. "You left the moment you told the truth." The line went silent for a beat. I nodded even though she couldn't see it. "Okay," I whispered. When I hung up, the house felt smaller than it ever had. Downstairs, I found my mother at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone. She didn't look up when she said, "You caused a mess." "Iris, your father can't even go into the office today." "I'm leaving," I said. She froze, then laughed without humor. "Where would you even go, Grandma's?" Her head jerked up. "That woman. She hasn't been part of this family in years." I called her. I said, "She invited me." Her eyes hardened. "You're not running away because of a little embarrassment. Be reasonable." "I'm not running," I said. "I'm done cleaning up after everyone else's mess." Before she could answer, I went upstairs, packed my laptop, a few clothes, and the old sketchbook I hadn't touched since high school. At the door, she tried once more. "You'll regret this," she said. "Maybe," I told her, opening it, "but at least it'll be my choice." The rain outside was steady, soft against my jacket as I stepped into it. Behind me, the house stayed silent. Ahead, I could almost hear the ocean. The bus ride south felt longer than it was. Every few miles, the gray sky shifted shades, like it couldn't decide between rain and clearing. I kept my hood up and my head down, replaying my mother's voice telling me I'd regret this. When the driver called out Astoria, I stood, clutching my bag. Through the window, I saw her before she saw me. Ruth, small but steady, waiting near the stop with a dark green umbrella. When I stepped off, she smiled like I'd only been gone a week. "You look tired, sweetheart," she said, and reached out, pulling me into a hug that smelled faintly of cedar and soap. "I didn't know if you'd really come," she added. "I didn't either," I said. My voice cracked more than I meant it to. She didn't ask about my parents, or the video, or the noise online. She just handed me the umbrella. "Let's get you out of the rain." The drive to her house was quiet except for the wipers brushing against the windshield. "Finally," she said. "I never liked how they talked to you, even when you were little. I thought that was just family," I said. She gave a soft laugh. "Then it's time you learn what family isn't." When we reached the house, everything was exactly how I remembered the chipped porch rail. The wind chime shaped like a star. Inside, she pointed toward the hallway. "Your room's the same." I couldn't bring myself to change it. I stepped inside and froze. The old quilt was still there, faded but warm. On the dresser, the tiny photo of us at the pumpkin patch was still taped to the mirror. Ruth leaned on the doorway. "You don't have to talk tonight. Just rest." I nodded. "Thank you." "Nothing to thank me for," she said. "You just came home." When she left, I sat on the bed and listened to the sound of the ocean somewhere beyond the window. It was softer than I remembered, but steady like it had been waiting. I unpacked only one thing before lying down my sketchbook. It sat on the nightstand, closed, but close enough to touch. For the first time in years, I slept through the night. By the second morning at Ruth's, I woke to a dozen missed calls and over 100 messages. The video had passed 2 million views overnight. Every headline said the same thing: Dad's family joke backfires. Ruth was in the kitchen making tea when I came down. She looked up from the kettle. "You don't have to read it. You know?" she said. "I'm not sure I can stop," I admitted. She poured the tea anyway. "Then at least eat something while you do." I scrolled while the steam rose from the mug. My father had sent one line. "You embarrassed me in front of my clients." My mother's message followed. "Are you proud of tearing your family apart?" Vanessa had posted a video of herself folding laundry with fake tears, captioned, "When your sister thinks she's the main character?" I put the phone down. "They're trying to laugh their way out of it." "They always did," Ruth said softly. "Humor makes cruelty look polite." Later that day, I got a message from someone I didn't know. The name read Dana Vu. Her text was short. "I worked with your father once. He used to brag about his little housekeeper. I'm sorry." I stared at the screen until Ruth asked, "Bad news." "Someone from his office," I said. She remembers him showing pictures of me vacuuming when I was 13. Ruth's eyes darkened. "You don't owe them silence, Iris." "Not anymore." I nodded, though my hands shook as I opened my laptop. Inside my cloud drive was a folder labeled Proof. I hadn't opened it in years. Dozens of files waited: screenshots, recordings, half-forgotten moments I'd once saved just to convince myself I wasn't imagining it. One clip stood out. My 16th birthday. I was holding a trash bag, laughing awkwardly as my mother said, "That's cute. Iris thinks she gets a birthday off." My father laughed loudest. I uploaded the clip. No caption. It spread within hours. Comment after comment. "This isn't a bad day. It's a pattern. This is abuse." My father finally texted again. "Remember who pays your tuition." I opened my notes app and wrote every job I'd worked since 16: barista, stock clerk, babysitter, and added the student loan totals beside them. Then I posted a screenshot of the list with one line above it for the people saying I owe my parents everything. Here's the math. That night, my phone went silent for the first time in days. No new messages, no calls. Just the sound of rain outside and Ruth humming quietly from the living room. When she looked in and saw me sitting there, she said, "That quiet you hear, that's what truth sounds like." And for once, I believed her. Ruth started cooking before the sun came up. By 10, the house smelled like cornbread and nutmeg. She moved with a quiet rhythm, humming under her breath, pausing only to squeeze my shoulder when I passed the counter. "Do you want to set the table?" she asked. "I will," I said. "But not alone." She gave a small smile. "Not alone." By noon, cousins drifted in with covered dishes and careful hugs. Emily pressed a pie into my hands and whispered, "I saw everything. I am glad you are here." Her husband, Sean, nodded once, like a promise. My aunt wiped at her eyes and pretended it was the onions. My uncle kept his voice low, asking about school, about the rain, about anything that did not hurt. I kept expecting my phone to erupt, but it stayed face down on the hall table. Ruth caught me glancing at it and shook her head. "Today is not for them," she said. The door opened again near 2 o'clock. Conversation thinned to a silence so light it felt brittle. My parents stepped in with practiced, polite faces. Stephen looked past everyone the way he did in crowded rooms, as though he were above the noise. Marianne clutched a store-bought salad like a shield. Liam and Vanessa trailed behind, keeping their expressions empty. Ruth moved first. "Happy Thanksgiving," she said. Her voice was calm, not warm. Marianne answered for all of them. "Happy Thanksgiving." "Mom." She kissed the air beside Ruth's cheek and turned to me. "Iris," she said, smiling too tightly. "You look well." "I am," I said. Stephen put the salad on the counter as if it were a peace offering. "We came to talk," he said. Privately. Ruth shook her head. "This house does not do secrets," she said. "Not today." We took our places at the table. I sat beside Ruth. Across from me, Stephen lifted his glass and cleared his throat, the way he always did when he wanted the room. For a moment, the old compulsion tugged at me to sit straighter, to make myself small. I did not move. "Thank you for having us," he said. "Family should put things behind them," Sean said. "After they face them." Stephen looked annoyed, like he had been interrupted mid-line. "Right," he said. "After they face them." Plates passed, butter scraped, forks touched quietly. Vanessa scrolled under the table and pretended not to. Mary Ann leaned toward me. "We can talk later," she said. "You and me. Anything you want to say can be said here," Ruth replied. Stephen set his fork down, a soft click against the plate. He looked at me, then around the table as if asking for an audience. "So," he said, with forced lightness, "does Grandma's maid get a holiday off? Or does she clock in after dessert?" The room went still. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath against the window. Mary Ann smiled as if to soften it. "Stephen," she said. "Do not," Vanessa snorted. Liam huffed a laugh and looked away. I set the dish towel I had been using to catch condensation from the gravy boat onto the table. My hands were steady. When I spoke, my voice did not rise. "You made me the maid," I said. She made me a person again. No one moved. Ruth's hand found mine under the table. I felt the small squeeze, like a match catching. Sean broke the silence first. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he said to Stephen. Not a question. Not a shout, just a line drawn clean across the room. Stephen blinked. "It was a joke," he said. "Everybody here knows it." My aunt shook her head. "No," she said. "We knew it, and we let it happen. That is not the same thing," my uncle added. "I did not know the half of it until that video. I wish I had." Mary Ann looked stunned. "This is getting blown out of proportion," she said. "The internet twists things." Ruth stood. Her chair legs made a quiet scrape against the floor. When she spoke, her voice was soft, but it carried to every corner. "You mocked her in my house," she said, looking at Mary Ann first, then at Stephen. "You mocked her here, today of all days, after years of turning a child into your help. You will leave now." Stephen laughed once, a dry sound. "We are not doing this." "You are," Ruth said. She walked to the doorway and opened it. The November air pressed in, cold and certain. "You will not humiliate her under my roof." Mary Ann stood slowly, as though buying time. "Mom, please," she said. "Think about what you are saying." "I have been thinking about it for years," Ruth replied. "I am done." Vanessa looked between them. "This is ridiculous," she said. "You cannot kick us out on Thanksgiving," Sean answered her, not unkindly. "You already kicked yourselves out." Liam pushed back his chair, scraped it hard like he wanted the sound to hurt someone. "Come on," he said to Stephen. Stephen glanced at me, eyes hard, a dare I did not take. He picked up the salad bowl and held it as if it mattered. Then he set it down again. No one reached for it. They filed out to the porch. Ruth waited without moving, hand on the open door, gaze steady. Mary Ann paused in the threshold and turned back to Ruth. "We are still her parents," she said. Ruth did not blink. "Then you should have acted like it." The door closed with an ordinary click. The wind chime on the porch gave a small accidental song and fell quiet. For a long beat. No one spoke. Then Emily slid the basket of rolls toward me. "You should take the first one," she said. I shook my head. "Go ahead." Ruth sat again. She did not make a speech. She just picked up her fork and nodded to the bowls and dishes between us. "Eat while it is warm," she said. We did. Conversation returned in pieces. Someone asked Sean about work. Someone teased Emily about her pie crust. The room knit itself together the way rooms do after a storm finally moves offshore. Ruth leaned closer and spoke so only I could hear. "You were clear," she said. "I was afraid. I told her. Being clear is a kind of bravery," she said. I reached for the gravy boat and passed it to my uncle. My hands were still steady. The laughter that returned to the table was different from the kind I knew. It did not stick in my throat. It did not land like a bruise. It was just people, sharing a meal, making room. I looked at Ruth. She nodded once, as if to say I could breathe now. I did. That night, Ruth and I stood shoulder to shoulder at the sink, washing the last of the dishes. The air smelled of butter and cinnamon. The clinking of plates was the only sound between us until she said, "Feels different, doesn't it?" "It does," I said. "It's not about cleaning anymore." She smiled faintly. "You're doing it for peace, not approval." I nodded, for the first time. Yeah, the house had gone still. Most of the family had left, but a few cousins lingered, talking softly in the living room. Their laughter was light, genuine. Ruth dried her hands and turned to me. "You know you're not going back there," she said. "I know." "You mean that I do." The next morning, I opened my phone. My father had posted a long message online. "Families go through rough phases. Outsiders don't understand what we share." Beneath it, someone commented, "Didn't you film your daughter like a servant?" The post disappeared an hour later. Then came Vanessa's new video, her pretending to cry while folding laundry, captioned, "When your sister ruins the family image." The comments burned through her performance before she could turn them off. Ruth saw my expression and said, "You don't have to watch them unravel. I'm not angry," I said. "Just tired." She poured us both coffee. Tired is good. Tired means you're finished carrying what wasn't yours. A week passed quietly. The messages slowed, then stopped. The silence felt heavy at first, then clean. One afternoon, my phone buzzed again, an unknown number. The voice on the other end was from the college's financial aid office. "Someone tried to log into your account with a parent access code," the woman said. "We've blocked it, but we wanted to let you know." My hands tightened around the phone. "Thank you," I said, my voice steady. When I told Ruth, she didn't look surprised. "Control doesn't die easy," she said. "I'm done being careful." I said, "I want it to end." She nodded. "Then we'll end it properly." That evening, we sat together at the kitchen table, drafting a letter, a cease and desist notice. Ruth knew a retired lawyer who helped review it. When the copies were sealed, I wrote their names on each envelope: Stephen Calder, Marianne Calder. Ruth slid the envelopes across the table toward me. "Send them certified," she said. "That way, they can't say they didn't see you draw the line." I looked at the letters and felt something inside me settle. Quiet and sure. Ruth touched my wrist. "You're free now," she said. "Almost," I whispered, "but I can feel it coming." December came quiet and cold. Ruth unpacked a small box from the attic and set it on the table. Inside were old ornaments, chipped and faded from years of use. Near the bottom, one caught the light, a glass sphere with my name painted across it in gold glitter. She held it out to me. "You decide if it goes on the tree this year." I ran my thumb over the letters. Some of the paint had flaked away, but it still read Iris. "You kept this, I kept all of you," she said, "even the parts they tried to erase." I hung the ornament near the top branch. Ruth watched me, smiling like she'd been holding her breath for years. Later, we sat by the window while rain traced soft lines on the glass. She said, "Do you think they'll ever stop trying to reach you?" "Maybe," I said, "but it doesn't matter anymore." She nodded slowly. "Then it's done." In the garage, we'd set up a corner for my paints, a single table, a lamp, the smell of turpentine. I'd start it again, small strokes at first, then color filling in the emptiness. Ruth came to the doorway, hands folded. That one's beautiful, she said. It's not finished yet, I told her. Neither are you, she said. I smiled, dipped the brush again, and kept painting. Outside, the wind pushed against the house, steady and sure, and for the first time, I wasn't bracing for it.